Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mila, you're my booknik, and today I have an updated nonfiction TBR. So I think I did my TBR video, I want to say 2 years ago. Yeah, because I think I still had long hair then, if I remember correctly. Anyways, this is an updated one. Basically, I'm going to talk about the newest editions, the newest books that I've found that sound interesting through whether it's Instagram or I found a random article about it or I followed the author somehow, And then I will talk about the older ones from that first TBR and whether or not I've read them. Some of these, both from the old one and the newer one, are going to be read for the book club. If you're unaware, I run a book club called the Museum Society Book Club. And this year I've decided that along with the usual picks, which this year is a fantasy release as well as a classic for each month, we are going to be reading a variety of nonfictions. Technically, the nonfictions are also in a month if you count it out. However, I just chose 2 per quarter plus a bonus book if either one of the ones that were chosen for the quarter are not your speed, so to speak. Whether it's based on the content, whether it's based on the availability, whether it's based on the, subject matter, all that kind of stuff, whether it's based on the writing style, because nonfiction can be tricky to figure out your taste in. So without further ado, before the light dies on me, it is snowing really hard. Damn, it's snowing like really hard. Anyways, before the light disappears on me, let's get to it. So here are the newest additions to the TBR. If I'm looking down, I'm looking at my tablet, which is where I have the Instagram post based on this video. No, sorry. I'm using the Instagram post for this video. So this video is based on the Instagram post. And if I'm looking that way, it's to make sure I'm in frame and that I don't look stupid. I'm gonna lighten this a little bit, I think. Yeah, there we go. Hopefully I don't look too yellow. Anyways, let's get to it. So the first one I have is 7 Wonders of the Ancient World by Bethany Hughes. I do have a copy of this and we are reading this at some point during the year. I don't remember exactly when. And I've always loved sort of the concept of the 7 Wonders of the Ancient World. And in grade 10, I think, we had to do a speech. And I actually did a speech about the 7 Wonders of the Ancient World. So yeah. Fun stuff. Next, we have The Minoans, Lost Civilizations by Ellen Adams. I've always loved the Minoans. I don't know, I've had this sort of connection with the Minoans. Always. The Minoans and Mycenaeans, it's the first sort of thing you learn about when it comes to ancient Greece. And this was actually sent to me by the publisher, so I also have a copy of this. I have copies of quite a few of these, so I'll let you know which ones I actually have copies of. Next, we have Penelope's Bones by Emily Hauser. This is one of the quarter 1 nonfiction books, and I love anything about Penelope and about the woman in like Homer's epics and just like the woman in ancient world. Next, we have 12 Caesars by Mary Beard. I have the new translation of Suetonius's The Lives of Caesars, I think it's called, or The Lives of 12 Caesars, The Lives of the Caesars. And funny enough, I also have a nonfiction of the 12 Caesars. So it's funny how life works, So I actually got this at a secondhand store and it was in pristine condition. I have a hardback. It was a pristine hardback at a secondhand bookstore. So I don't know. I have such trouble differentiating between the Caesars, except like Julius Caesar. Yeah. Anyways, next I have The Library of Ancient Wisdom by Selena Wisdom. Wisdom. I thought that was funny. This is about libraries and Mesopotamia. It says Mesopotamia and the Making of the Modern World. I love Mesopotamia. Next we have Children of Athena by Charles Freeman. I bought this one. I bought this purely for the title. I have a feeling this is going to be slightly philosophically heavy because it literally says Greek intellectuals in the age of Rome. We all know me and philosophy don't mix. Anyways, next we have Orientalism by Edward W. Said, Western Conceptions of the Orient. I have like the newish cover, which I like, but I tried to read this book. It is so, and this isn't the author's fault necessarily. Like It's so dense. It's not an easy read. So I think I need to be in a very specific mindset in order to really read this. As someone from Central Asia, I think being in this sort of central part of the world where sort of East meets West is going to be an interesting thing to read about. Next we have Red Thread on Mazes and Labyrinths by Charlotte Higgins. I love the myth of Theseus and the Minotaur. I don't love Theseus. In fact, I'm Theseus's number one hater. So this is another Q1 nonfiction. Is it getting lighter outside? What in the world? Anyways, I'm not going to complain about that. So yeah, Theseus and the Minotaur, fantastic. Next we have Thebes, the Forgotten City of Ancient Greece by Paul Cartledge. I love the myth of the Sphinx. You're going to hear me say this a lot. I love this. I love that. I truly love, like, the Sphinx. I find that myth so interesting. And I remember reading Oedipus Rex in, I was like grade 12. Very interesting. So I want to read this. I've had this on my shelf for a very long time. Next, we have The Etruscans by Michael Grant. This one was not on my radar until I went to the secondhand book sale that the Trinity College at University of Toronto hosts every year, or maybe twice a year. I don't know. And I found this one. It looks cool, and I like the cover, and yeah, very interested. Next, we have a couple that are specific to like Russia or specifically Kievan Rus and Central Asia. And so we have Kievan Russia. I don't have the author's name on here. Yikes, I will put up the cover. I've been on the hunt for like nonfictions about Kievan Rus specifically, and it is proving difficult, especially in English. Next, we have Russia and the Russians by Geoffrey Hosking. If you look up like Soviet or pre-Soviet like Kievan Rus workout combinations, there's a thread on Reddit, and this is one of the ones that has been like repeated a few times. So yeah. Next, we have The Emergence of Rus 750 to 1200. This one is also Kievan Rus. It also came highly recommended through Reddit, apparently. I don't remember when I found these. Next, we have a couple of Central Asian ones, specifically around like my area of Central Asia. So think like literally my only area of Central Asia. But we have the Cambridge History of Early Inner Asia, edited by Dennis Sinor. And then we have a History of Russia, Central Asia, and Mongolia, Volume 1, from Eurasia, Inner Eurasia, from Prehistory to the Mongol Empire by David Christian. And then we have Wiley Blackwell. Then we have the second volume, A History of Russia, Central Asia, and Mongolia, Inner Eurasia from the Mongol Empire to today, so 1260 to 2000. So very excited to try to see if I can find them. Next, we have Lost Enlightenment, Central Asia's Golden Age from the Arab Conquest to Tamerlane by S. Frederick Starr. This is Central Asian. I believe I found this while I was browsing like Amazon for like the other ones, I think. Next, we have Silk Road by Valerie Hansen. This is apparently better than the other Silk Road book by Peter Frankopan, I think it is. So I'm curious. I do have that Silk Road book, like the other one by the Peter dude, but I haven't read it. So I kind of want to read this more. Next, we have The Woman Who Would Be King. And I don't know, I just find the concept of a woman king very fascinating. I like that. Like, yes, we could be queens, but we can also be kings. Next, we have The Rise and Fall of Ancient Egypt by Toby Wilkinson. Again, Egyptology, die. Next, we have Temples, Tombs, and Hieroglyphs by Barbara Mertz. This is more ancient Egypt. Next, we have The Epic Woman of Homer by Irene S. Allen. This is by our dear friend Irene. She is books or grammar, sort of, that I became friends with early on in my bookstagram journey, and she helped me quite a bit with the Odyssey and the Iliad, and just we had very good discussions, so I'm very excited to read her book. Next, we have, I don't know if this is out yet at the moment, but I did see it online. I just don't remember if I checked the date of release. It is Athens and Sparta, the rivalry that shaped ancient Greece. And it is by Adrian Goldsworthy, who has written a bunch of other books. And I wrote on the post that Athens and Sparta rivalry scratches an itch in my brain. I really don't know why. Next we have Creators, Conquerors, and Citizens, A History of Ancient Greece by Robin Waterfield. This is just interesting. I like those sort of summarizing books, so it's going to be interesting to read. Next we have Trojan War, A New History by Barry Strauss. Always interested in the Trojan War. I have this I have an attachment to the Trojan War. Next, we have Raiders, Rulers, and Traders, The Horse and the Rise of Empires by David Chaffetz. I don't know what that one's about. It looked cool based on the title and the cover, and it's probably going to be about like the nomadic tribes of the steppes and Mongolia and stuff like that. So next is Between Two Rivers, Ancient Mesopotamia and Birth of History by Moody al-Rashid. Always interested in Mesopotamia. I also have a very distinct attachment to Mesopotamia. Next we have Twilight Cities, Lost Capitals of the Mediterranean by Catherine Pengonis. Again, like the cover sold me on this one. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna be so serious with you guys. The cover sold me. Next we have The Last Dynasty, Ancient Egypt from Alexander the Great to Cleopatra, also by Toby Wilkinson, who is the author of The Rise and Fall of Ancient Egypt. Anything with Cleopatra and Alexander the Great, I'm gonna read, which is like a good chunk of Egyptian history, and just world ancient history in general. Next we have something that is not ancient history related. These are the only two books that are not ancient history related, and that is because they are Middle Earth related. So I have The Science of Middle Earth, A New Understanding of Tolkien and His World, and that is, again, Middle Earth related. And then we have Into the Heart of Middle Earth by Caitlin Fascista, Exploring Faith and Friendship in J.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. I follow Caitlin on Instagram, and I love her posts. Her posts are so fantastic. We're going to speedrun this, and I'm going to tell you whether I've acquired any of these or not. I don't remember if I had any of these that I now have last time. So, yeah. Now, these are the ones from my previous TBR. So, I'm going to speedrun through this. First, we have Persians by Lloyd Wallen-Jones. I have 2 copies of this. I have a paperback, and I have a hardcover version. So, yeah. We have The Cleopatras, The Forgotten Queens of Egypt, also by Lloyd Wallen-Jones. I only have the art, actually. Next, we have Darius in the Shadow of Alexander by Pierre Prien, and it was translated by Jane Marie Todd. So I believe this was a French book originally. Next, we have Mystery Cults in the Ancient World by Hugh Bowden. Haven't read that. I haven't read any of these, but some of these I do very much want to read. Next, we have Babylon, Mesopotamia, and the Birth of Civilization by Paul Krivacek. I do not have it, but I want to read it. Next, we have Persian Fire by Tom Holland. I do have a copy of it. Ancient Greek Hero in 24 Hours by Gregory Nagy. I do not have it, but I do want to read it. The Amazons, Lives and Legends of Warrior Women Across the Ancient World by Adrienne Mayer. I do have a copy of it. Next, we have Assyria by Eckhard Fromm, Rise and Fall of the World's First Empire. I don't have it. Do you want to read? I want to read all of these. I feel like I don't have to continue saying that. Next, we have Empires of the Steppes, A History of the Nomadic Tribes who Shaped Civilization by Kenneth W. Harl. Next, we have Helen of Troy by Bethany Hughes. I don't have a copy. However, my friend Helen found a copy in the UK online, and she bought it for me, and I don't mind. It's secondhand, so I don't mind. It was very cheap for her. So she's going to read it, and then she's also going to send it with like the box that she's going to send me. So she's packing me a bunch of stuff. So yeah. Then we have In Search of Zarathustra, The First Prophet and the Ideas That Changed the World, also by Paul Krivacek. I have a funny story with that one. In the beginning, he talks about meeting this one person from Tajikistan, and I looked at the last name of said person. I'm like, hold on a second. This name sounds familiar. So I go downstairs. I'm like, who is this? Is this who I think it is? And she's like, yeah, that's your great uncle. It's my granddad's brother. So yeah, they just have slightly different last names. So, but yeah, I was like, and she texted him. Literally, she texted him. So fun stuff. Next, we have Infamy, The Crimes of Ancient Rome by Jerry Toner. Ottomans, Khans, Caesars, and Caliphs by Mark David Bayer. And we have Rome and Persia, The 700-Year Rivalry by Adrian Goldsworthy. What is it with Adrian Goldsworthy writing about rivalry. Say that 5 times fast, man. Rivalry, rivalry. Anyways, I love reading about men being stupid and fighting each other for God knows what reason. And yeah, and then getting themselves killed because they're stupid. There's one more book. It's Mysticles. I don't remember the rest of the title. It's by Michael Scott, who also wrote the Delphi book. Yeah, that one as well. We're gonna add that one as well because I made this list a while back and I'm making the video now, so I can add it. So we're also gonna add Themistocles by Michael Scott. So yeah. Anyways, that's it for this video now. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know if there are any other books I should add, and follow me on all my socials, check out the post, and I will see you in the next one. Happy reading!